He's the man.
Say something.
That's one of the most unusual World Cup moments, the appearance on the pitch of a celebrity chef, Salt Bae. FIFA rules state that only World Cup winners and heads of state are allowed to touch the trophy during the closing ceremony, but that didn't seem to apply to a man made famous for seasoning steaks. The Turkish chef was photographed holding the trophy and interacting with the Argentina squad throughout the celebrations, but it appears he shouldn't have been there. And now FIFA have launched an investigation into why and how he gained access to the pitch.
From the back kitchen of a small Turkish restaurant to the centre of the world stage, Nusret Gökçe, better known as Salt Bae, became a phenomenon almost overnight. It all started in 2017 with a single video, a steak carved with razor-sharp precision and a sprinkle of salt delivered with the flick of a wrist. That clip exploded across the internet, catapulting him from an unknown butcher into a global meme. Celebrities couldn't get enough. Leonardo DiCaprio, David Beckham, and even royalty lined up for a taste of the Salt Bae experience. His signature move wasn't just seasoning, it was performance art. Suddenly, he wasn't just serving steak, he was serving culture, spectacle, and status. Restaurants opened across the world, packed with tourists eager to pay outrageous prices just to witness the show. Social media turned him into an icon, with tens of millions of followers hanging on his every post. For a moment, Salt Bae embodied the modern fairy tale, a dishwasher turned celebrity chef, celebrated not for recipes, but for charisma and flair. But in the very same breath that made him famous, the seeds of his downfall were already planted. What begins as a viral sensation can just as easily collapse under the weight of its own hype. By 2019, Salt Bae had built an empire that was less about food and more about luxury. His restaurants weren't dining experiences, they were theatres. Gold-covered tomahawk steaks, selling for thousands of dollars, became his signature attraction. The food was flashy, the bills were jaw-dropping, and the clientele was dripping with status. Politicians, athletes, Hollywood stars, they all wanted to be seen in his orbit. He wasn't just a chef anymore, he was a brand, an influencer, a lifestyle. Every slice of meat was a photo opportunity, every sprinkle of salt, a headline. On the surface, it looked unstoppable, but while the spotlight was dazzling, cracks began to show beneath. For everyday diners, the shine quickly wore off. Outrageous receipts began popping up online, $1,800 bills in London, $50 sides in New York, entire tables running up charges in the hundreds of thousands. Customers started asking the obvious question, was this really about food?
So that wasn't terrible, but my God, was that expensive. And I think I chose some of the more reasonably priced dishes. And when I say reasonably priced, I mean it's not as overly expensive as some of the other stuff on the menu. But make no mistake, my steak was definitely overpriced and my dessert was really overpriced.
Or just about flexing wealth. Salt Bae's response was not humility but arrogance. To him, complaints weren't valid, they were proof his audience simply wasn't on his level. Instead of listening, he doubled down, flaunting the excess like it was part of the package. What he didn't realize was that the internet that built him was turning against him.
People complain about the price of your food. Why is it so expensive?
We are not expensive. This is, perception, not reality.
The first red flags came in the form of angry reviews. Customers vented online, calling the food bland, overpriced, even insulting. I paid $1,000 for a steak that tasted like $50, one diner wrote. Another said, it's not a restaurant, it's a circus. These comments weren't coming from trolls, they were from paying customers expecting a world-class meal and walking out with regret. Instead of damage control, Salt Bae leaned into the criticism. He bragged that his restaurants weren't expensive, people just didn't understand excellence.
Spend $830. This is the most expensive meal I've ever bought in my life. Was it worth it? We'll talk about that another time.
That smug attitude poured gasoline on the fire. Fans who once cheered him now felt betrayed.
Why did you share the receipt of 615,000 dirhams and some other receipts you also shared?
This is our record. That's why I show the social media. This is the, not only restaurant, we have also, experience.
Social media that once made him a legend became a stage for his public shaming. Memes mocked his gold steaks, calling them symbols of greed. Comment sections filled with disappointment. I miss when he cooked with passion, now it's just for money. His brand, built on charm and showmanship, began to feel hollow. The cracks widened further when Salt Bae pushed arrogance over accountability. By ignoring the backlash, he underestimated the same internet culture that made him famous, and the downfall was only beginning. The real disaster was waiting for him on the world's biggest stage, the 2022 FIFA World Cup. December 2022 should have been Lionel Messi's crowning moment. Argentina had just defeated France in one of the most thrilling World Cup finals in history. Players wept, fans roared, and the stage was set for one of football's most sacred celebrations. But then, like an uninvited guest sneaking into a wedding, Salt Bae barged onto the pitch. Dressed in his signature tight white outfit and sunglasses, he weaved through security, grabbed the World Cup trophy, and forced himself into photos with Argentina's stars.
What has been quite incredible over the last few days is we know how toxic and how many arguments there is on social media, but everybody hates Salt Bae. It seems to be official. I haven't seen anyone defend this man at all across the globe for coming on and obviously trying to steal the limelight after Argentina won the World Cup. And obviously a lot of question marks as to why he was allowed on the field. Apparently he wasn't.
FIFA rules are crystal clear. Only winners and heads of state can touch the trophy. Yet here was Salt Bae, kissing it, sprinkling imaginary salt, and pestering Messi, who visibly tried to shake him off before reluctantly posing. The moment was supposed to be about Argentina's triumph, but instead, the spotlight shifted to an unwanted intruder. Social media erupted.
Football unites the world, Nusret unites the world as well. We are together, we enjoy it.
He's disgraced football, one fan wrote. Another called it the most embarrassing publicity stunt in World Cup history. Within days, FIFA launched an investigation into how he even got access. What should have been Salt Bae's ultimate flex became his career's breaking point. Overnight, he went from celebrity chef to global laughingstock.
I don't know why he was permitted to hold this or touch this. This is crazy.
But it's also very cringe.
We as a society made a massive mistake with Salt Bae.
The World Cup stunt wasn't just a bad look, it was catastrophic. FIFA banned him from the 2023 US Open Cup final, an official blacklisting that sent a loud message, "Stay out." Football fans turned on him with venom, calling him an arrogant opportunist who hijacked history. Even his loyal followers felt second-hand embarrassment. "I've admired him since day one," one longtime fan wrote online, but this was the last straw. The criticism wasn't just about football, it was about his character. To millions, Salt Bae wasn't a passionate chef anymore. He was a fame chaser who couldn't respect boundaries. Instead of apologizing, he defended himself with a weak excuse. "I just wanted to share the joy." That only made things worse. The internet wasn't buying it. His comments were flooded with clown emojis, fans mocking his tone-deaf attempts to justify breaking rules. The magic of Salt Bae's sprinkle had evaporated, replaced by cringe and contempt. And instead of repairing the damage, he leaned harder into flaunting wealth, pouring salt on his own wounds. After the World Cup disaster, most public figures would retreat, regroup, and show humility. Salt Bae did the opposite. In early 2024, he posted jaw-dropping receipts from his Dubai restaurant, an $18,000 bill captioned smugly with "Money comes and goes." Another receipt hit $141,000, flaunted with the line, "Quality is never expensive." At a time when people worldwide were battling inflation and struggling to make ends meet, his tone couldn't have been more out of touch. Instead of admiration, he sparked outrage. Fans accused him of mocking ordinary people while pandering to the ultra-rich. "This isn't food anymore," one comment read, "it's just a slap in the face." Once beloved for his showmanship, Salt Bae now symbolized excess, greed, and arrogance. He wasn't inspiring people, he was enraging them. His restaurants, once packed, began to see empty tables, especially in Western cities where criticism hit hardest. Yet he didn't stop. Decked out in designer clothes, posting videos with billionaire clients, Salt Bae carried himself like nothing was wrong. But behind the glamour, his empire was slowly crumbling. Every viral star eventually faces the question, are you substance or just spectacle? For Salt Bae, the answer became painfully clear. As more customers exposed overpriced meals and lackluster quality, the internet consensus shifted. He wasn't a chef anymore, he was a gimmick. The man who once inspired awe was now ridiculed as a meme gone stale. Analysts pointed out that his breakneck expansion, 22 restaurants in under 5 years, prioritized branding over quality. The food was never the focus. It was the show, the luxury, the exclusivity. But shows get old and gimmicks fade. Without humility, he couldn't course correct. Instead, Salt Bae doubled down on arrogance, convinced criticism meant people just didn't understand. That refusal to adapt became the nail in the coffin. Fame had stripped him of what made him great: passion, craft, and humility. By 2024, his legacy wasn't culinary artistry, it was self-destruction. The cruelest punishment Salt Bae faced wasn't hate, it was indifference. The same millions who once idolized him began unfollowing, disengaging, and moving on. Engagement on his Instagram plummeted, with most comments reduced to mockery and disappointment. "I miss the old Salt Bae," one follower wrote, "back when it was about passion, not money." Others unfollowed altogether, unwilling to watch him morph into a caricature of himself. In the culinary world, he became a punchline. Critics dismissed him as the fast fashion of food, flashy, shallow, and disposable.
It is true, me and Salt Bae are not best friends. And there are a few reasons why I'm not a huge fan of his.
$1,200 for 2 people.
When I saw that price, I almost had a heart attack.
Even celebrities, once proud to share his spotlight, kept their distance. His brand, once synonymous with fun and novelty, now reeked of arrogance and cringe. The downfall wasn't sudden, it was a slow bleed, the kind where every post, every overpriced bill, every smug defense pushed him further from the fans who built him. Salt Bae's story has become less about food and more about fame. It's a case study in how quickly the internet can flip on someone who loses touch with reality. He had all the ingredients for lasting success: talent, charisma, and global recognition. But instead of building on those strengths, he turned himself into a caricature, obsessed with excess and blinded by his own hype. In chasing luxury, he lost authenticity. In flaunting wealth, he alienated his audience. And in refusing to listen, he destroyed trust. Branding experts now cite him as one of the worst examples of crisis management in recent years. Someone who could have bounced back with humility, but instead burned his reputation to ashes. His downfall is more than personal. It's cultural. In an age where influencers rise overnight, Salt Bae shows how fragile that fame really is. Today, Salt Bae still posts videos, still runs restaurants, still tries to live in the parallel universe where backlash doesn't exist. But his magic is gone. The sprinkle that once mesmerized millions now feels like an awkward relic. His legacy isn't culinary brilliance, it's a warning. A warning about what happens when arrogance replaces humility, when spectacle trumps substance, and when greed overshadows passion. Salt Bae didn't just lose his fans, he lost their respect. And once respect is gone, no amount of gold stake or viral posing can bring it back. In the end, his story isn't about a chef or a meme, it's about self-sabotage. Salt Bae didn't get cancelled, he cancelled himself. And that may be the harshest truth of all.